So, just going to give you a fair warning. There's going to be a lot of talk about the Northern Ireland Protocol on this channel, because it's been in the news a lot recently. So you're going to see a fair few videos on it. So just giving you a warning now. Really. So Britain warns the EU that the Northern Ireland Protocol is unsustainable. So Boris Johnson, who ran a campaign on the oven-ready Brexit deal, which included the Northern Ireland Protocol, and Lord Frost, who helped to negotiate the Northern Ireland Protocol, is now telling the world that this thing that we agree to is unsustainable. So why did Boris Johnson and the Iceman agree to something that was unsustainable? The British side keep arguing that, the EU is misinterpreting things and blah blah blah, but surely if you wrote a good agreement there would be very little room for misinterpretation, correct? Or maybe you're not as good a negotiator as you think you are. So the UK government has warned that the special Brexit arrangements for Northern Ireland as they stand are unworkable in an intervention made at sensitive talks with the EU on controversial border checks. After a visit to meet business leaders in Belfast on Tuesday, the Brexit minister, Lord David the Iceman Frost, urged outside views would say Frosty, urged the EU to take a pragmatic approach in talks. And we're going to be talking about the UK's kind of plan, quote unquote plan for, changing the checks within the Northern Ireland within the Irish Sea. They're not great, to be honest, and I can't see the EU agreeing to them. But once we get there, we'll talk about those. He warned that the UK will continue all our options. So this is a threat to the EU, saying that we might take more unilateral actions if you don't listen to us. This is us throwing our toys out the pram because we're not getting our way. In relation to the protocol, which in the past has included unilateral action to suspend it in part, and we're seeing, we're still waiting on the EU to take legal action. Specifically, what are they going to do? Like, hurry up. But, if we keep taking unilateral action, it's going to cause more bad will between the UK and the EU, and also more legal action potentially from the EU as well. It's clear that from my visit, this is Frost, the protocol is presenting significant challenges for many in Northern Ireland. So why did we agree to it then? Why did we agree to it? If it's causing so many problems, did you not know at the time this was going to cause so many problems? Especially since Boris Johnson said there will be no checks in the Irish Sea for goods going from GB to Northern Ireland. So, maybe that's the main reason why we're having problems. We just didn't prepare for it. Is that the case? Because you're not very good at your job if you didn't get the government to prepare for something that you helped to negotiate, Lord Frost. Businesses have gone to extraordinary efforts to make the current requirements work. We've covered previously that they're not really, though. A lot of companies don't like the new rules, and that's one of the reasons why they've kind of stopped exporting to Northern Ireland. But it's hard to see that the way the protocol is currently operating can be sustainable for long. So why do you agree to it then, you idiot? We're committing to working through the issues with the EU urgently and in good faith. That's not true. We're not acting in good faith, considering in a previous paragraph we kind of threatened the EU. Did you forget that, Frosty? I hope they will take a common sense risk-based approach. Why would the EU take a risk-based approach? Why? It's not in their interest to cause more problems for the single market. Why would they do it? If stuff starts going through the Irish border, that means that there'll have to be more aggressive checks done in the Irish Sea. Or if the UK refuses to agree to that, then potentially you're putting a hard border back in Ireland, the island of Ireland, and risking more violence. That's going to be far worse than what we've seen this year. So the arguments that the UK are making is, the EU have got to accept some risk and liability. No, they don't. No, they don't, because we've put ourselves in this position. This is on us to fix, not them. This enables us to agree a pragmatic way forward that subsequently eases the burdens on Northern Ireland, he said in a statement. These are the burdens that you helped put on Northern Ireland, so this is up to us to fix it. You can't go back begging the EU to fix a problem that we helped to create. It's ridiculous. While the UK has repeated its support for the protocol since violence broke out in loyalist communities, Frost's statement suggesting he believes there is more scope for improvement on the Brussels side in relation to dropping some of the checks on supermarket food and plants that unionists see as an attack on the union between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. This is a problem politically for unionists within Northern Ireland. This is a huge problem for them, but this is a problem that Great Britain imposed on Northern Ireland. This is not the other way around. We agreed to this Northern Ireland Protocol. The EU had wanted us to stay inside the entirety of the UK to stay inside the single market until we came up with a solution to deal with the checks within the Irish Sea. Boris Johnson's best bet is just pushing Ireland to unify at this point. Therefore, this won't be an issue. Brussels sources insist the talks are not negotiations, as the protocol is a direct consequence of the hard border Boris Johnson has opted for. So the EU are saying these aren't negotiations. You cannot negotiate with us because this matter is already settled. It's done. It's like, agreeing to buy a house, then going back to the realtor and saying, do you know what? Actually, I want 10% off this house. They'll be like, no, it's signed. We've agreed to this. Pay up. Diplomatic sources say that the UK has ruled out most helpful option of aligning food standards with those of the EU. Other countries have that kind of alignment with the EU. Switzerland have it. New Zealand have equivalency, which I think is slightly different. But that lowers the amount of checks on meat products going from New Zealand to the EU. That's something we've discussed a lot in the past. But if we did have alignment, this could have seen a reduction of about 90% of the documentary checks and 98% of the physical checks conducted at the border, according to recent Select Committee evidence from Shankar Singham, one of the government's key advisors in the Brexit negotiations on the Irish border question. We're not going to do that. We've refused to do it. And also the fact that there is a loophole in the UK-Australia deal that hasn't been fully agreed yet. We're going to cover it when the time comes. That basically allows Australian hormone beef allowed into the UK to be used in public sector places like schools, prisons and hospitals, etc. So if that happens, if that clause is not taken out, then we're not going to be able to get this kind of SPS agreement anyways, because the UK is via the back door letting in hormone beef and beef, food, sort of animals reared in other inhumane ways that the EU and the UK do not allow. So it's going to be very difficult if we allow this UK-Australia deal to go through to actually get an SPS agreement or any kind of alignment with the EU. So another Brexit win. Talks aimed at finding a path to minimise the checks, which led to tensions and violence in loyalist communities, have been ongoing for weeks. But the EU are saying that, look, just do alignment with us, have the high standards and stuff like that, and we'll reduce the checks naturally. That's what will happen. This will reduce EU alignment with UK alignment with the EU on these standards will reduce 98% of the physical checks conducted at the border. That's a lot, but we're choosing not to do that. But agreement has only been reached on a handful of items, including waivers for guide dogs and for pedigree livestock crossing the Irish Sea. That's it. That's all we've managed to get. Talks are now centering on potential checks exclusively on food and other goods going into Northern Ireland from Great Britain, which are considered at risk of crossing the border into the Republic. And these goods that are at risk of crossing the border into the Republic of Ireland are going to be the ones that won't give any leeway on these things. Why? Because that's the whole point of the Irish Sea border, is to make sure stuff doesn't leak into the Republic of Ireland that's not meant to. Like, come on, guys. Under the withdrawal agreement, Northern Ireland is observing the EU rules on food, and although the UK follows the same rules, there's been strong political resistance to formalising agreement, as it would be seen as a breach of the clean break from the EU law. Because if we have alignment, which means that when the EU changes rules, we have to as well, that will be seen as a lack of a clean break from EU laws. If we look for equivalency, that would look better because we're just kind of accepting that, but the UK and the EU both have high standards. New Zealand doesn't have complete alignment, but it does have equivalency because both countries equally have high standards. But that's something we also haven't agreed to either. Insiders in Brussels say this has not been requested by the UK. In any case, it would not be a silver bullet as it covers individual products rather than a broad range of food that crosses the Irish Sea. So even then, the agreement between New Zealand and Australia, where they have some sort of food standards agreement, which is strange considering Australia has wildly different food standards to New Zealand, wouldn't actually solve the issues within the Irish Sea. This is just ridiculous. Lord Frost, he's just reaching, isn't he? Because he's trying to ask the EU for way too much and say the EU aren't cooperating. That's what he's trying to do by the looks of things. We go to the Guardian's expert on this, Lisa O'Carroll, who says, he wants the EU to take a pragmatic approach. That's not going to happen. Business is going to extraordinary lengths. We're committed to work on these issues, which we know is simply not the case. And we go to the good doctor here, who says that it only took 5 months after the same assessment from the trader community and, more importantly, local businesses. She's saying that, it only took the government 5 months to realise that the Northern Ireland Protocol is unsustainable in the long term. The trade community figured out straight away. They figured it out. They knew from the start this was going to be untenable, and it took the UK so long to figure it out. It took Boris Johnson so long to figure out. But then again, Boris Johnson and the Iceman have been, sort of nagging at the EU for a while, saying that, there are problems here, we have to fix them, you have to give us concessions, and the EU just saying no, because they don't have to. Because at the end of the day, this is a UK problem. Brexit was done by the UK. The consequences of Brexit are on the UK. Northern Ireland is part of the UK, and therefore has to deal with the consequences of British stupidity. That's the top and bottom of it. Look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.